The story opens on a quiet American-style village just before sunrise. The sky is still soft and blue, and the air is cool enough that you can almost feel the morning breeze brushing across your skin. Birds begin to chirp, and the first orange rays of sunlight touch the rooftops. Inside a small wooden house at the edge of the village, a young blacksmith named Lucas lies awake in his bed. He isn't sleeping, he isn't resting. He's thinking about all the things he promised himself he would do, all the goals he said he would start tomorrow. But as he stares at the ceiling, he already knows something painful. Today will probably be just like yesterday. He wants to change. He wants to be stronger, more disciplined, more successful. But when morning comes, he always chooses the same thing: comfort. He whispers to himself, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll change tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. This creates a deep connection with the audience, because everyone has lived this moment, the moment when you want a better life, but your actions don't match your dreams. The hook ends with a simple, powerful realization. Lucas isn't a bad person. He's just stuck, just like so many of us. This sets the emotional tone and immediately grabs the viewer's attention, making them see themselves inside Lucas. Now the story gently pulls the audience deeper into Lucas's world. The camera moves through the village green hills in the distance, golden fields swaying with the morning wind, and a small peaceful community where everyone knows each other. In the middle of this cozy place stands Lucas's workshop, a place filled with glowing embers, heavy iron tools, and the scent of smoke and steel. Lucas is young, strong, and naturally gifted. He has sharp hands, a sharp mind, and a talent many blacksmiths dream of having. Villagers admire him. They look at him and say, if Lucas ever decides to put in the effort, he could become the best blacksmith in the whole region. But there's a big contradiction in his life. His talent is huge, his discipline is zero. Lucas wakes up slowly every morning. Instead of working, he sits on his porch with a warm cup of tea, watching clouds drift across the sky as if he has all the time in the world. He loves imagining success more than working for it. He often daydreams about becoming a legendary blacksmith, crowds cheering, people traveling for miles to buy his swords. But when it is time to actually forge something, he quietly chooses to do nothing. His workshop reflects his life, half-finished swords lying on the table, dusty metal tools untouched for days, and old commissions stacked in piles. The farmers are waiting. The guards are waiting. The villagers are waiting. But Lucas keeps telling himself the same lie: I'll start when I feel ready. Through this introduction, the audience clearly understands who Lucas is: talented but stuck, capable but unmotivated, dreaming but never doing. And this sets the stage perfectly for the conflict that's about to unfold. As the days pass, Lucas continues drifting through life the same way: slow mornings, long afternoons of doing nothing, and evenings filled with empty promises to himself. His workshop becomes a silent graveyard of unfinished dreams. Tools lie scattered. A plow sits half-shaped but untouched for days. A sword glimmers under a layer of dust instead of shining in the sunlight. Farmers knock on his door asking, "Lucas, is my plow ready yet?" He gives them the same answer: "I'll get to it soon." But soon never arrives. Guards need strong blades before patrol season starts. Families need repaired axes and hammers. Even children who once admired Lucas begin whispering, "Why doesn't he finish anything?" Every disappointed face becomes a mirror showing Lucas the truth he tries to avoid: he is wasting his talent. Still, instead of doing the work, he sits by the river, watching the water flow and imagining who he could be. He pictures himself standing strong, making legendary swords, earning respect. But the moment he thinks about actually working, his chest tightens. He doesn't want discomfort. He doesn't want effort. He wants the reward without the struggle. This inner conflict grows deeper. Lucas feels guilty, embarrassed, and stuck, yet he does nothing to break the cycle. Weeks pass, and the entire village begins feeling the consequences. Harvest season is close, and the farmers are struggling. Without plows, their crops are at risk. The guards' old swords are breaking. Tools are dull. The community starts depending on Lucas, but Lucas is failing them all. One evening, the village chief visits Lucas's workshop. The chief is calm but firm, his voice carrying the heaviness of responsibility. He tells Lucas that his laziness is no longer a private problem. It is hurting everyone around him. He warns Lucas that if he does not change soon, the village will have no choice but to remove him from his position as blacksmith. The chief walks away, but his words stay in the air like smoke. Your talent is meaningless if you don't use it. Later that night, Lucas sits alone in the dim workshop. The fire is barely burning. A half-forged blade lies on the anvil, still unfinished like everything else in his life. As moonlight shines on the cold metal, Lucas feels something he hasn't felt before, shame mixed with fear. For the first time, he whispers to himself, "Why can't I change? What's wrong with me?" The next morning, something unexpected happens. A stranger arrives in the village, an older blacksmith named Mr. Cole, a man known across nearby towns for his strength, discipline, and wisdom. He has traveled far and heard rumors about Lucas, a young man with incredible talent trapped inside a lazy life. Mr. Cole visits Lucas's workshop and immediately sees the problem. Not the tools, not the materials, not the talent, but the lack of discipline. He tells Lucas a truth that hits him harder than any hammer strike. Discipline is stronger than talent. Talent without discipline is wasted metal. He explains that blacksmithing is not about feeling motivated. It's about showing up every day, especially when you don't want to. He compares discipline to forging iron. You heat it, you strike it, and you shape it, every single day. Even when your hands ache, even when your mind complains. If you stop halfway, the blade becomes weak. If you stop working on yourself, you become weak. Lucas listens quietly. Nobody has ever spoken to him like this, with honesty, respect, and belief. He asks Mr. Cole, "How do I start? I always fail." Mr. Cole smiles and gives him a simple but powerful plan. Start with 5 minutes, not an hour. Just 5, then slowly build it. Discipline grows like a muscle, one small step at a time. Lucas decides to try. On the first day, he approaches the anvil with shaky hands. The hammer feels heavier than ever. His mind screams to stop. But he forces himself to do 5 minutes, and he does. The second day, he tries 10 minutes. The third day, he finishes a small plow. The fourth day, he fails completely and almost quits. But he remembers Mr. Cole's voice. Show up even when you don't feel like it. Little by little, Lucas begins seeing small victories. A tool repaired, a sword polished, a farmer smiling in relief, the children cheering softly when they see him working again. These small moments begin shaping Lucas's identity. He realizes something powerful. Discipline doesn't feel good at first, but progress feels amazing. The main body ends with Lucas caught between who he used to be and the stronger version of himself he is becoming, setting up the perfect path toward the climax. As the months passed, Lucas's workshop slowly transformed from a place of dusty promises into a glowing forge of discipline and consistency. The once unfinished swords now lined the walls, polished so brilliantly that they reflected the firelight like mirrors. Tools that had rusted in silence were now restored, sharp, strong, and ready for work. Farmers who once complained now spoke proudly of Lucas. Guards trusted his blades. Even children, who used to whisper about his laziness, now watched him with wide eyes filled with admiration. Lucas didn't just rebuild his workshop, he rebuilt himself. When Mr. Cole returned to the village one late afternoon, he stepped through the workshop doors and paused, taking in the sight. The heat from the forge glowed warmly. The air hummed with the sound of steel striking steel, and Lucas stood in the center, focused, confident, and transformed. He wasn't the same person Mr. Cole had met months ago. He wasn't daydreaming, he wasn't delaying, and he wasn't running from effort. He was working, truly working, with discipline carved into every movement of his hands. Mr. Cole smiled. "Lucas," he said softly, "look around you. Do you see what you've become?" Lucas paused, breathing heavily from hours of forging, and turned toward him. For the first time, he didn't apologize, he didn't make excuses, and he didn't hide behind promises of tomorrow. Instead, he looked at the finished tools, the shining blades, and the neatly arranged workshop, the physical proof of months of consistent effort, and he felt something powerful rising in his chest. "I see it," Lucas said quietly. "I see the man I wanted to become. Not because I felt motivated, but because I showed up even when I didn't want to." Mr. Cole nodded proudly. "That," he said, "is discipline. That is strength. Anyone can work when they feel inspired. Greatness comes from working when it's hard." Word of Lucas's transformation spread throughout the entire region. His story became a lesson parents told their children, a reminder to farmers during tough seasons, and a symbol for guards preparing for long nights. In the village, people didn't admire Lucas only for his skill. They admired him for conquering something far more difficult: his own laziness. The closing message to the audience becomes clear. Just like Lucas, you are not weak. You are not hopeless. You are not lazy by nature. You only need to take one small step, then another, until momentum grows, until discipline builds, until the person you dream of becoming slowly becomes real. Greatness isn't born from motivation. Greatness is born from showing up,